Hello and welcome. Thank you for joining in. This is Human Reaction, and today I'm going to talk to you about the relationship between your body and your process of individuation. So what is individuation? It is the process of becoming who you are. It is the process of being or increasingly being who you are. This happens naturally as one grows up, gets friends, has experiences, prefers this education to that, prefers this job to that job. So how does a SOMA analysis help you in your process of individuation? Well, as I found through my process with working with my body and my very sharp brain, I've always had a sharp brain, even if I may say so myself. And the thinking doesn't always necessarily help you out. It is the ising, the living and the perceiving that is more accurate to the thinking. The thinking is kind of, sitting on a hill and looking down and going, what do I see there? But the actual experiencing and living and expressing is a lot more of an embodied individuation. So think about it like this. Let's say you have a body, which you do, and so do I, and so does everybody else, or at least 99.9% of people. Think of your body as the environment in which you get to express yourself. So if you are, poverty stricken and you only have white and yellow paint and a very old paintbrush and a few pieces of scrumpled up faded paper, then that's the extent to which you can paint. But if you have more access to the environment and more space and more tools and more money, then you can express a more clearer and more high resolution expression of yourself. That's the same with the body. So ironically, your shoulder, your knee, your hip, your back, and your head, your jaw, your ears, your hands, these are all environments in which are calling to you saying, be individuated. And one wouldn't think that your hand actually is, got anything to do with you, but actually it does. So if you have if you have a very uninhabited hand, it's a kind of mirror image of the uninhabited area of you that exists. And so the more you inhabit your hand, the more of you is inhabiting in this moment and experiencing. One can see and say a lot about other people's bodies and body habits, especially people that pull their heads back and down. And not to judge people, but just to realize how far down we all are when it comes to being somatically closed up and not really living with our full breath and our full access to our environment. The irony and joke on us is it's the same principle as uncovering your subconscious kind of your psychology, your life, your emotional life, being able to say, I am now angry, and I'm angry because I don't actually want to be here, and I'm in a job that I don't like. So because you are becoming emotionally intelligent, you can say, I actually don't like this situation in my life, I'm going to go and do something else. This is the same with your body. When you have tight shoulders, it is not necessarily also you, it might be your grandmother's grandmother, but taking responsibility for the generational story that you are in, within your shoulders, within your back, within your hips and your knees, and your feet and your ankles and your face and your jaw and your brain and your nervous system, and uncovering your somatic reality takes you a couple of steps further into who you are. And as much as we are frustrated in our life by the stories that we happen to find ourselves in, so much relief and joy and fulfillment there is in finding ourselves in our bodies. It sounds so awkward for me to say because I've always been very much a thinker and not so much a feeler, but we're not necessarily on the feeling side of it. I keep making a distinction between feeling and experiencing. Feeling is like, oh, I feel sad, or it's an emotional thing, or I feel cold. But experiencing is a type of a conscious thing that's happening. Emotions are an experience of the body, but consciousness is the experience of experiencing. Does that make any difference for you guys? It is a big difference. So when I'm cold, I put on a jersey. But when I experience that my jaw is tight, or that I'm holding my breath, or that my eyes aren't exactly seeing what it is that I'm looking at, when I just use the body as a simple roadmap to living a more vivid, conscious, and experiential life, I can gain some ground into becoming more conscious and more present in what I am and what I'm doing. Because you are going to be doing and amming in any case. The nice thing about going through a process like psychoanalysis, developing a spiritual practice, or going through a soma analytic process, is that you get to share in what's happening at the moment in your life. And that's the point. That's the point of, that's not the point, but it's like so nice when you're eating, a good meal, that you are actually aware of the fact that you're eating it. Or if you are in a relationship, a long-term one, that you're actually like fully there all the time, because then you get to, it becomes a richer reality. Same as your work. If you are in a work that you don't really like, it pays off to actually know that you don't like it. A lot of people live in a kind of unconscious, unhappy space, but they don't really even realize that they're not happy. So when you go to a psychotherapist, or when you go to any therapy or any process of expression and creativity, you learn who you are. The body kind of has all the clues. It's the mirror reflection of who you are. So if you want to shun your shoulder and say, you got nothing to do with me, or if you want to say, my voice, I've got nothing to do with my voice, or my back, or my jaw, or my, whatever, every single thing physically is a reflection of who you are. And it's not to say that you must go to the gym and, tighten up and look better. That obviously has an effect, and you do have an enriched life when you're feeling stronger and better. But being conscious about your somatic habits is a different journey. It's a journey of becoming more conscious of yourself. As opposed to thinking and meditating hard and going, I'm quiet and I'm thinking, or I'm quiet and I'm meditating, and you get yourself into a very nice, quiet place, and you start hearing the small voices. You start hearing the small voice, or this quiet voice that is you, that's talking, and you can build a relationship. Or you can just say, what is my neck joint doing? What is my facial expression doing? What is my head tilt doing? What are my shoulders doing? Are my hips tight? Am I holding my breath? Am I pulling my knees into my hips? And all of those clues in your body give you a very clear reflection of what it is that's going on. And let's say you're having trouble in a relationship, and then you say, but I can see I'm having trouble in a relationship because I'm always stressed, and I'm breathing up here, and I'm always pulling up my shoulders and whatever. And it's not necessarily to say that the relationship is bad. It's just to say that you have to not bring the baggage from your grandparents or your previous life into that relationship. If you want to look after it, it is of value to undo the things that hold you back inside your body. Then you become a clean slate, and you can actually live out the joys that you know that you want to enjoy. And you can live out the work, and you can be in the work environment and do the work that you know that's inside of you, is bubbling inside of you. Don't let the body hold you back. Don't let the body make you think you can't do something, because the body's like this. The body, when it's natural, affirms that which you know on the inside. So there is value in untangling the body so that you can be who you know you are. And there's value in untangling the body, because when it's open and free, then you hear yourself more clearly and sharply, and you can live in that space of kind of conscious engagement with yourself. And you use the body as signs to tell you what's happening. Obviously, it gets when you live that closely to your body, you can get like a maniacal, obsessive, observant analysis paralysis type of person. And sometimes that's the process to go through in the beginning, because you are suddenly seeing all these things and you're thinking about them, and it's overwhelming. But it's a bit like a kid, it's get all these instructions to do maths, and then it he paralyzes maths wise and just starts to fail. But how else does one learn maths but to go through the paralysis phase, where you kind of brain dead and you can't actually take in all the information? Is just keep taking in the information, and eventually you will develop capacity to think about your shoulder when you are walking down the road, or you can think about your head, neck, and back relationship when you are in a conversation. And when you can guide those, like when you can regulate and guide your emotions, when you can guide your nervous system and your body, you can just get to so many more things. You can enjoy so many more things. You can be your full self and enjoy yourself so much more. And we can see who you are, which is nice. Often the body holds you back from us, and we want to have more of you. So do it. If you're not going to do it for yourself, do it for the other people. But I think doing it for yourself is a good start. You do deserve yourself, and you are valuable enough to be yourself, and you are definitely valuable enough to share yourself with us so that we can be enriched by you. So the head, neck, and back relationship is just such a clear indication of your life, your past, your hereditary life, your life that you've lived up until now, your present experience, or the things that are holding you back in your present experience. If you think about the neck joint, which sits, in between your ears, right at the top of your spine, you don't want to constrain it. It's where all the nervous system goes through the brain stem into your brain. So you want the neck joint to be free. And the cool thing about it is, how do you do a freedom? People say sit up straight, but the body is so designed that it naturally wants to be going up and be free. So the neck joint wants to be free. How do you do a freedom? You only allow it. So it's becoming conscious in a moment and saying, I allow my neck to be free, and then I allow my head to sit forward and up. So the head wants to balance perfectly at the top of the spine. It doesn't want to pull back. It doesn't want to, it's fine if one moves. You can move whatever you want, but to come to a balanced resting place, is to have a quiet neck, a head sitting lightly at the top of your spine, not pulling down and not pulling back, but to sit quietly at the top. To have your nose be a little bit. I sometimes think of having a weight on the tip, like a sinker on the tip of your nose. A sinker. I don't know if that's an English word, but so you have a weight on the tip of your nose so that you don't pull it back the whole time. But it's the spine that lengthens, not the back that pulls it up. The spine lengthens. It's designed to lengthen, so you don't pull yourself. You don't pull yourself anyway. You just come into consciousness and you realize how much strain you're adding. You let go of the strain, and a more natural you gets to be and enjoy and see and perceive and think and respond to life. So head, neck, and back. Neck free, head forward and up. Back lengthens and widens. Free hips and knees going forward and away, and free shoulders and arms lengthening to the fingertips are more peripheral or secondary directions. So first three primary directions: neck free, head forward and up, back to lengthen and widen. Secondary: hips free, knees go forward and away, shoulders are free, arms lengthen to the fingertips. Again, it's a process of becoming more conscious. So it's not something of doing more, it's waking up more, and it's a direction into how to wake up in your body. So it's directional, it's instructive, it's explanatory, but it's not reprimanding. It's explanatory, it's awareness, and it's natural. So we're not trying to superimpose anything onto you. We're not telling you got to come right. We're trying to tell you are naturally organized in a very nice way. Perhaps you should become aware of where you are interfering with it unconsciously. Learn how to kind of stop doing those things and allowing the natural thing, which is a free neck, a head going forward and up, and a back lengthening and widening. Breathing and not fixing your eyes, trying to feel what's going on, are two ways to really see if you're allowing something as opposed to doing it, stressing about it. But the keys and the truths of who you are lie in your body, and it is a bit of a rabbit hole that goes on and on and on. But the nice thing, like playing the piano, the rabbit hole every week, if you're practicing, just becomes cooler and cooler, and you can play better and better music, and you can understand and see more and more of yourself, and you can be more of yourself in the world, and you can perceive other people a bit more accurately as well. So there is what's today's date? I think it's May something or other, somewhere in the middle of. Is it the 26th? I don't know. Let's say May 2025. I'll IP it. It's it's the idea of a soma analysis, and you'll see it'll come out in the papers and the books, and then the talks. People will begin to talk about it. It's just another tool to get us to a place of being more aware of ourselves, not being able to hide, and enjoying how spacious and good and strong and free at the same time reality is, and you are. Anyways, good luck if you guys are following me, and thank you for tuning in. I'll see you again next time. Take care.